tuning into the Mac City Morning Show. And first and foremost, we're going to start it off the same way we always do, by saying thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, but the fact that you decided to spend it with us means the world to me. Now, on that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro. All right, and we are back. Okay, today's going to be a banger. The gentleman sitting to my right, I've spent a lot of time with over the years. We have great conversations, so I can almost promise you that this is going to go a little bit over today. So sorry, not sorry. On that note, I don't introduce my guests. I let them introduce themselves. So, sir, please tell the people at home who you are, what you're about, and then you and I can just get to doing what we do.
All right. Thank you, Elliot. My name is Brendan Smith. I'm a local physiotherapist here in Fort McMurray. Elliot and I used to work together a few years ago. Great rapport, great relationship. We've kept in touch over the years. And as he said, this might go over. I like to talk. I can, gab about most things. So when he asked me to join the show, I'm happy to be here.
There you go. Awesome. All right, Brendan. So I just want to get right off the bat about you talking about what you do, because you help so many people. Anytime I talk about, oh yeah, I used to work at Clearwater, it's always, oh my God, Brendan this, oh my God, Brendan's that. So let's just talk about what you do for a living, and you have a great reputation in this town for what you do and helping people. So let's put a little bit of shine on what you do very well.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us about physical therapy.
So I work at Clearwater Physical Therapy in private practice. So in a nutshell, anyone who has any form of physical related ailment, we find a lot of people don't necessarily know what we do. People know what going for a massage would be. People think chiropractic, you go get your back cracked. And same thing, there's a lot of misconception about what you actually have done. If someone's never been to a physio session, what I would say would be, if you have any form of not just ache and pain, but functional deficit, because in the healthcare world, physiotherapists are the experts in restoration of functional movement. So unfortunately, a lot of times, some issue with functionality leads to the number one issue, which with people would come to see us, which is pain. I'd say 1 out of 1,000 people would come in and say, I'm completely pain-free, but I have an issue with blank. Pain, discomfort is what brings people to the door. Whether that is you have chronic migraines, whether it is you were hit by a bus, whether it is you fell off your work truck and you've hurt your back. Something has happened over time, or like that you're now injured. Or, you needed a new knee because you're 65 years old and we have to help you with your new knee. But again, you come in for pain, but pain is because something in the physical side of your body, your nerves, your muscles, your joints, are in dysfunction.
Right.
So from day one, first 5 minutes, it's figuring out why you come in the door, because one of the most important things with us is being on the same page with the reality with which you're coming to see us. If you don't know anything about physio and I'm going to say, well, I'm going to watch you move and, with your consent, put my hands on you and figure out what's wrong. I vividly remember one young lady who had no idea we were going to touch her. So I had to start from the very beginning,
right,
to say, like, I need to see how you move, measure a few things, but also get my hands on your tissue to see how your muscles feel, how your joints move, to figure out why you are the way you are.
That's right.
So once that's established, it's ask questions, see how they're moving, touch how they're moving, and come up with the plan of attack. Physio treatment generally has 4 pillars. It's the hands-on therapy, which can be anything from soft tissue to joint manipulation to nerve gliding. The exercise that we advise people to do at home. One of my favorite cliche statements that I make at physio is, I use a dentist analogy, is you go to the dentist, they check your teeth, they clean your teeth, they fix your teeth, and what do you do when you go home?
You brush your teeth.
You brush your teeth.
That's right.
Physiotherapists have kind of the same idea. You go to the doctor, you're sick, you get a bottle of medication, what do?
You take it.
You take it. So with physio, it's, in clinic, we'll do the hands-on portion, but the exercise side and the third pillar, which is the education and advice side, has to be followed. And that's probably the biggest thing that people don't always understand is physiotherapy shouldn't be passive.
Mm.
It's great that you come in. We really appreciate, especially in this day and age where people are a little bit more apprehensive to leave their homes to come see us. But even if it's simply, here's some stretching, get up from your chair, maybe you should change your desk height, little things like that will go a long way because our profession is very straightforward and that there's usually a reason why you are the way you are. So if you just had a new knee, you can come to physio every day, but you need to do A, B, and C that we recommend. And that's a big takeaway that I think most people have a bit of a disconnect for is you need like 50% of your benefit is going to happen when you come. The other half happens when you're not there.
That's
Again,
right.
same as going to the dentist. You can get your teeth cleaned once a week, or you can brush your teeth every day and get your teeth cleaned once a year.
That's right.
In theory.
Yeah, you got to put into work.
Yes.
And I've been to physio once or twice now, and yeah, you got it's amazing in regards to when you come in, you guys are able to, like you said, manipulate the body or get you to do some exercises, maybe even do some needling or whatever.
Yeah, because our fourth pillar is kind of the other.
Yeah.
And it really depends on the therapist. I would comfortably say that some form of hands-on work, even just correcting movement. I'm going to put my hands on your hips and adjust how you squat. Put your hand in the shoulder, correct where the shoulder blade sits. Some form of hands-on work is pretty standard in a visit, and the education exercise have to be there because we're supposed to have some form of expertise.
Yeah.
And the other can be anything from athletic taping to some form of electric stim to an ultrasound to acupuncture or muscle needling. There's such a gamut of what we do, and that's just in private practice. Like what I work in, you go to a hospital, physios are working with patients who have had surgeries, who are in the low level of function. You may have just had a stroke, so your rehab is you can sit up by yourself.
Right.
Like, so your gains are very slow, but someone can now sit and reach and pick up glass independently.
Right.
Where 2 months ago they couldn't even move.
That's it.
So same thing. It's a restoration of function, but it is depending on where your function is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I just myself, like when I was working with you guys and seeing the progression of patients was something else. It was actually crazy in regards to, like you said, you'd have somebody coming in who the first physio trip or visit, they couldn't bend over, period. And then give it a few weeks, maybe like a month or so, and all of a sudden they're back to normal, bending over, touching their toes, and you're like, what the heck? How did you do that? It's crazy.
And that's the progression that we'd love to see. When someone's discharged, you look at their chart. It should read like a book.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, pain is a 9.9 out of 10. You can't move. You can't do what you want to do. And on a lot of assessment sheets on day one, there's a goal or something like that where you're trying to get a sense of who the person is. Everyone wants to work.
Right.
Everyone wants to sleep.
Yeah.
But if you can't, play with your kids because you can't get on the floor, if you can't go for a run and that's your de-stressor because you have really bad ankle pain, if you're a gamer but you can't sit because you get such bad migraines from sitting in your chair, whatever it is unique to you is the reason that we want to get you back to where you're at. So again, whether yes, you want to work, you want to sleep, you don't want to be in pain, but someone's got a reason.
That's right.
And it's in reading like a book, every chart note is like a chapter where you're getting them toward closer and closer and closer to what they want.
That's right.
And then for the most part, they go. We unfortunately do have people who suffer a lot of chronic pain, or in this day and age, you're on a 2-year wait list for orthopedic surgery because hospitals are dealing with a lot right now. So, surgeons are kind of backlogged and so on. But we manage the best we can. And even if someone is, a weekly or, every couple of weeks just for pain management, we try to help their lives in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Now, while you were talking there, you talked about a pastime, which is running.
Yes.
For the people at home who haven't looked out their car windows in the summer and or winter, if you look out, you'll see this gentleman running more often than not. I know I'm constantly just driving. I'm like, oh, it's kind of, there's Brendan. Oh, there's Brendan. You are an avid runner. Have you kept that up during COVID?
Yes. So competitive triathlons is my major hobby to keep me active. It is definitely a first world problem, but most, if not all, amateur races in all shapes and forms have been canceled. Triathlons, Spartans, marathons, you name it. Like they just didn't happen. Group events,
Right.
volunteerism, nothing happened in 2020. Fingers crossed, stuff you can register for August 1st. I'm excited to do a triathlon in Calgary, so hopefully that between decreasing numbers, vaccines, and safety measures for groups of people outside, come the summer we'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
But 100%, definitely have kept up my activity. We had a very cold winter,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of inside treadmilling.
Whoop whoop. Treadmills.
Unfortunately, the gyms and the pools have had a lot of open and close
Right.
since March. I mean, Mac Island, where I'm a member of, was closed for a long stretch, and then they reopened with their specific guidelines. I'm more of a lifelong avid swimmer. It was very interesting having to book a lane in a pool
Right.
to show up, and you want to be there by 10:02 because you don't want to be wasting a space, and by 11 o'clock you're done because someone's coming in behind you.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you in every facet of the world you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So and then unfortunately come December we had to reduce indoor activities and gatherings again. So
Right.
the gyms have all shut down again. They're slowly in the phase of Alberta reopening, for privately one-on-one stuff. Fingers crossed, the first week of March, if we get into the next phase, that the pool and the weight rooms can be reopened for regular visits in some capacity. So
Yeah. No, I was wondering about you in regards to like, because you're like a robot in regards to like you don't mess around. There was days where Brendan, you were like under the weather in regards to like, it's kind of sick, I think. And I'm like, oh, you gonna go home then? You're like, no, I gotta go to the gym first. So I'm thinking, did he build a home gym? What has he done in this time frame?
so we always have a treadmill, and my triathlon bike has always been on the indoor like rollers.
Right.
My girlfriend set up her mountain bike next to mine so that we could be active in the basement. And
Right.
we had a couch in the basement we got rid of, and Kate set up a punching bag and got
Nice.
some kettlebells so she
There
can
you
do
go.
her thing. And my training season starts next Monday,
Hmm.
so the hours definitely ramp up. So that yeah, so now if where she would normally come home and go to the gym, if I'm in my basement for 2 or 3 hours, she can come down and
Hang out.
join me and hang out a little bit
There you go.
while we're home. So
Now, outside of your physical activity, you are a big sports fan
yeah,
of one sport in particular more than others. What is that sport?
I'm a huge hockey fan.
Okay, now you're a huge hockey fan, and it's a divisive topic in regards to when you're picking your team. So
Sure.
you might get a little bit of hate on this, but you might get a lot of love as well. Can you please tell the people at home who's your team? Who you
So
cheering for?
I'm a Newfoundlander and I'm a diehard Leaf fan. But when people ask me that question, my answer is always the same. In that I consider myself to be a hockey expert first, and a Leaf fan second.
Oh.
And the reason why I say that is I can have very unbiased opinions and discussions, especially when it comes to hockey. You know me quite well. I'm a very left brain person.
Mhm.
I'm pretty logical and pretty analytical. So I go by, yes, I'm aware for many years the Leafs weren't very good. As of 10-14 on February 23rd, I think today is,
Yeah.
the Leafs are first in the league.
Yeah.
So you can give me hate right now. The Leafs are first in the league. So,
Yes.
it is what it is. Again, have a pretty good discussion with fans, especially what makes this season interesting is most hockey fans in this part of the world cheer for one of the 7 Canadian teams, and they're all playing each other. You want to start talking to me about teams in the 60s and the lack of winning, I got no time for you.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about the teams now? No one playing in the league was born 25 years ago. Most people who I talk to, for example, who are fans of the Canadians, the Habs won in 93. You're 30 years old, you don't remember your team being good any more than I do.
Right.
Oilers fans, same thing. You won in 90. Wayne Gretzky's 60. So let's talk about the fact that the Oilers haven't been very good for a while anyway. Or the Senators, or the Canucks. None of them have won cups in 27 years. So,
Is that the real stat?
93 Canadians have been the last Canadian team to win a cup.
What?
So there's been blips of Ottawa had its streak where they were pretty good, and Vancouver had their run. But if you're a fan of Canadian hockey teams, you have a hard time arguing the point that since the mid-90s of the Gilmore Leafs, the Patrick Law Canadians,
Yeah.
there really hasn't been stretches. Again, Vancouver lost in 11 to Boston, and
Right.
Ottawa lost in 06 to sorry, '07 to Anaheim, but
Right.
for the most part, the elite teams are not coming out of Canada.
No.
So we're all in the same boat, boys.
Right.
The players are, though.
Pardon?
The players are, though.
The best players are still coming from Canada.
Right.
But when it comes to the teams, we're all kind of in the same boat for the last couple decades. None of us have had a whole lot to cheer about.
Yeah, we like to export our natural resources.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we do in Canada. No, it was my favorite part of working at Clearwater, hands down, to hear you talking to people coming in about hockey, just chirping all day, and then you'd be working on somebody, and somebody else would be across the room. You're like, "What are you talking about?" And the banter that would go back with the hockey talk was hilarious.
I can back up my points with fact.
Yeah.
So this is why I try to keep it factual and not emotional, which is how I lead most of my life.
Yeah. So, how do you think things are going in regards to? There's not a lot of people in the stands now. They're like pumping in sound.
Zero. Some southern U.S. cities,
Yeah.
The states allow fans and so on, but no fans in Canada.
Yeah. Do you think that's affecting the game at all for the players, or what's
The
your
players,
thought process on
no,
that?
I think they're getting used to it. I mean, these players played hockey their whole life. They can probably remember being in a stadium where the only 15 or 20 people in the crowd were the parents. So
Right.
they're from talking to a couple of pro athletes who I've met over the years or playing sports myself. You tune out. I mean, yes, the crowd gets you pumped and when there's a big goal or a big save, but you're focused on what's happening
Right.
in front of you. The noise is great. I personally find it anticlimactic.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because when a goal is scored, like the roar of the crowd pumps you up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I watch a game whether they're winning or losing, and Toronto scores, and it's like, okay, nice.
Yeah.
But there's not that like, even the announcers I
Right.
find are a little bit like, okay, goal, move on.
Move on.
You know,
Yeah.
some of the local radio broadcasts of local teams, they get more into it because they're radio, so they're more used to being just a voice and not with the crowd. But
Right.
yeah, I find it a little bit more anticlimactic, and it's when there's only 6 opponents, I find it's getting a little bit repetitive.
Right.
And by the end of the 56 games, it'll be nice to move into the playoffs and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and be done with it.
There you go. All right, Tanner. This is your part of the show. Brendan, I know you've watched the show. For everybody at home, if this is your first time tuning in, Tanner has a segment called the Mac City Minute. He's going to ask you 5 questions. Answer them as honestly and quickly as you can. And Tanner, hit him with your questions.
Question number 1. What is your favorite sports moment you can remember?
On television or my own personal exercise feat?
That is up to you.
Probably the first Eastern Atlantic lacrosse championship I won when I played lacrosse for Halifax. We had lost the season before in the final and won the second year.
Question number 2. What is your favorite memory working with Elliot?
He and I went to Halifax on a recruiting trip. It was a blast, not only because I was going back to my home on the East Coast. I'm from Newfoundland, but I went to school in Halifax, so it was a blast. But also seeing the HR side of business and how you deal with interviews and talking to people. And we had a lot of fun.
Question number 3. What is one thing about physiotherapy you think everyone should know?
When you're at physio, you're probably going to be in a room with other people. 9 times out of 10, it's not private. So it's not like massage or chiropractic. There's going to be other people around. So be prepared to be semi-private.
Question number 4. What is one thing you do to keep your body healthy that would surprise people?
The number of hours a week I happen to train, which sometimes is up to 15 or 16. And I eat really healthy.
And your last question, how has seeing people through your job shown you the people of Fort McMurray?
The sheer volume, between myself and my coworkers, when you're having dozens and dozens of different people coming in the door, you meet people from all walks of life. I've never been on site. I've been here for a decade and never been set foot on any of the oil sites. So everything I know about what happens on site comes from people I interact with, or my girlfriend who works on site. But yeah, just everything, but especially equipment operators, learning about the actual shovels, heavy haulers, dozers. I just pick up from having conversations with people I work with.
Those have been your 5 questions.
There you go. Yeah, that was a good trip, man. I got to say, I've been to Halifax prior to you and me going, at least 18 times.
Yeah.
But when you and me went, because you went there, I got to see a part of Halifax that I never like encountered or seen before, because I didn't go to school there, right? So I used to just go straight up for recruitment purposes, but you were able to show me like pretty cool things there.
One thing I'll never forget about our trip was, so very quick context, Ellie and I went to do some recruitment to the graduating physio class at Dalhousie University. And we did your typical presentation, Q&A at lunchtime. And that evening, probably say 20 to 25 of the students met us at a local pub just to have a drink and chat a bit more casually about what was going on. And after about an hour, Elliot tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Okay, we're going to go." And I was 27, 28, and most of the young people were 23, 24, 25. Mm-hmm. So I didn't realize why we were going to go. It was probably only 11 o'clock. It was a Friday night. Like, what do you mean we're going to go? And he said, "We're going to talk later." So as we were walking back to the hotel, he said, "Our purpose for the evening was done. We'd had around. We had a couple of nachos. We talked about what life in Fort McMurray was, but we didn't need to be there anymore. Like, we're going to go, let the students, talk about us, talk about everything they've seen today, and we'll interview tomorrow." He said, "Us staying there for another hour is going to do nothing but be social, and that's what we're here for." And it was an eye-opener to me, thinking there is a process to this. It's not just sitting around for 3 hours drinking and hoping the conversation comes up. You're there for a set time, then you move on.
Yeah, very structured.
Yes.
And it's funny that you picked up on that in regards to, because a lot of, like, especially what I do, a lot of people see it and like, "Oh, you're just so friendly and like things just flow." I'm like, yeah, this is all true, but even this show, calculated. I can pay attention to time. I know what my objectives are. I make it look natural, but there's definitely a method behind that madness. So on that note, though, Brendan, I'm getting the point. I'm getting the point from Tanner. We're already over.
Okay.
And I knew it was going to happen. But, dude, thank you very much for coming. I've so many other things you and I can talk about, so I hope you come back again and again.
Anytime.
Before you leave, though, once again, let's plug where you are, how people get in contact with you. Go.
Thank you. Brendan Smith. I'm a physiotherapist at Clearwater Physical Therapy. Our clinic is in Thickwood, next to Tim Hortons Public Health, the gas station. We're open 7 days a week. Google, Facebook, 780-742-0005. Myself and my coworkers are there to help you. Physio, massage, acupuncture, pelvic health, pediatrics.
There you go.
Not necessarily all with me. We all have our expertise, but one of us can help you out for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody at home, thank you once again for tuning in. I don't say this ungenuinely. I really do appreciate everybody that tunes in. So thank you for spending the morning with us. And if you're not watching it in the morning, thank you for taking the time to watch it whenever you want to watch it. My name's Elliot Pierre. This is the Mac City Morning Show. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Stay where you're to till it comes where you're at. Or tune in again to the Mac City Morning Show.